Radio playing Caroline by the Fortunes, and if anyone in the Caroline organisation is listening to the programme this evening, because they obviously are not on 6215, keep up the good work, lads, and as I said before, just get back on the air as soon as you can. This is Weekend Music Radio broadcasting on 6235 kHz live from Scotland. Anyone who's looking to phone the studio, I suppose you may well phone the studio if you like. It's a bit late, of course, but you can phone if you like to give us your views on what's happened to Radio Caroline over the past 12 hours or so. Not even 12 hours yet. They were raided and boarded at around lunchtime today, Saturday, the 20th of August, 1989. Exactly 6 years since they first began broadcasting, almost to the hour. And that was the official opening of Radio Caroline from the Lost Revenge in 1983. The Lost Revenge still at sea, of course. They haven't towed the ship in. And indeed, who says they have the right to tow the ship in? The ship is in international waters. And although there's questions asked whether the ship is properly registered, it's still an act of piracy. Although it's not an act of piracy against any government or official body if the ship is not registered, but it's still an act of piracy against the Caroline organisation. And Weekend Music Radio sympathises and supports the Caroline organisation in their continued efforts to bring good music to the UK. Radio Caroline have broken our thoughts. We've been on the telephone line all day. Caroline have been publicising the radio statue and the MOA day. Midnight, August 14th, 1967 was the day the government brought in legislation against them, and Caroline was not one of as you will hear from this recording made the other night, Monday night at midnight on 6215 kHz, the now silent frequency of 6215.
On 558 and 6215 kHz, this is Radio Caroline. It was 25 years ago on Easter Sunday, 1964, that Radio Caroline started broadcasting. On the 14th of August 1967, the British War Offences Act came into force. Good morning. Today is the 15th of August 1989, and the Voice of Free Radio continues, very much alive and kicking from the international waters of the North Sea. This is Caroline.
Snippets there of the old Radio Caroline as they used to sound on shortwave 6215 kHz on the 49 metre band. 6215.5 is indeed the international ship's calling frequency. I know they are a ship, but that is just pushing your luck a little bit. They have been operating on that frequency for quite a number of months now and been asked to move, and they failed to take the advice of some of the radio people in the UK who advised them to move. But the station, however, was raided today, Saturday the 20th of August 1989. The Dutch government, ITN, teletext service on TV channel in the UK teletext service reported that it was a combination of efforts between the UK, Belgium, Holland and French government who actually raided the station. That's mainly the Dutch, as far as we're led to believe. And in the CPAC service in the BBC, once again, I'll repeat what they had to say about it. They said Dutch officials have boarded the pirate radio ship Radio Caroline. It followed complaints by broadcasting stations in Europe that transmissions were interfering with their services. The operation was supported by the British DTR, following the ship for some time. A spokesman said Radio Caroline was international law, but the station was in international waters and the authorities had no jurisdiction. That was from the BBC's teletext, still operating on page 111. If you want to go and dial it up, of the teletext. Weekend Music Radio, Scotland's only international broadcasting station, transmitting in support of Radio Caroline and the general in the UK. Weekend Music Radio, supporting Radio Caroline, Northern Europe, in the UK, Ireland, and other countries where there is not used to be in Ireland, and as it still is Weekend Music Radio transmissions, which we don't do too many of, to 42 Arran Close, Cambridge in England. And we've got brand new, not glossy, but very, very bright QSLs. Very, very bright fluorescent QSLs. In fact, they're almost luminous. And they'll be sent out next week to listeners who write to the station. And meanwhile, if there's any German listeners listening to us at the moment, we'll be asking you to write to us very soon indeed in the German language. Here we go.
Sie hören eine Sendung von Weekend Music Radio, ausgestrahlt aus Schottland, gewählt auf Kurzwelle. Die Postleitzahl von Weekend Music Radio ist 42 Arran Close, Cambridge, England. Unsere Telefonkarten und Sticker sind nun erhältlich.
And what he said, Weekend Music Radio, QSL cards and stickers and information sheets, etc. are available from the station. WMR transmitting to the world on shortwave. I suppose we can revert back to our old WMR station identifications because we are the only WMR currently on the air now. There was some confusion between us and World Mission Radio, between World Mission Radio, World Music Radio, Weekend Music Radio, and also WLR. So there should be no confusion because we are the only one left now of those four stations. Broadcasting to the world on 235 kilohertz on the 48 meter band shortwave, just down from 6215 kilohertz where Radio Caroline used to broadcast. We are Weekend Music Radio, transmitting in support of Radio Caroline. We were raided earlier on today by Dutch officials with a tug somewhere in the region of half the size of the Ross Revenge. Came alongside the ship and seemingly the chief engineer, which is still Peter Chicago, we're led to believe, was given a good hiding for putting up a fight to the boarding party, which of course had no right to board a ship in international waters. And Peter is, I don't know what condition he's in, but these thugs have apparently done him some harm anyway. So well done, Peter and the captain, for putting up a fight for your ship. Thanks very much from all the free radio people in the UK. And we really all appreciate what you're doing and what the fight is all about out there in the North Sea. Weekend Music Radio transmitting on 6235 kilohertz, 49 meter band. And only from the 60s from Frank Highfield.
What's the dollar segment? Count my Weekend Music Radio.
The theme tune of the most well-known of the radio stations from the ships. The Radio Caroline, well rated by the government of Holland today at around 13:30. no sign, and boarded and put off the air. The station boldly continued, the English DJs being the usual ones to carry on until the last moment. The Dutch usually give up straight away, and the English DJs have boarded themselves into the studio and continued broadcasting for about 20 minutes, half an hour, as far as we can tell, up until the government of Holland, whoever was involved, cut the cables off or whatever they did, but the transmitters went off mid-broadcast. And what they did say, the presenters of the English service did say when they were broadcasting, was that they were free to go with the officials to Holland or the UK, wherever they wanted to go. They could take them off, dump them, and they would be free to go with no further questions asked. No action would be taken against them, or indeed they could stay with the Ross Revenge. They were not under arrest or under any jurisdiction from any. The ship is still out there, and whether the Dutch tug, which is roughly half the size of the Ross, is quite a big tug, is still out there, we do not know. And pictures on the ITN news report at 21:30 British time today, 20:30 UTC, revealed that there was also a British ship from the Department of Trade and Industry out there. So this is a news broadcast of Weekend Music Radio to update you on what we know, and believe me, it's quite scarce, the news. We have no confirmation of whether, for example, Chicago is on land or not, in hospital or what he is, but he's apparently received a beating for putting up a fight against the thugs who came on board. The offices of Radio Caroline in London were supposedly visited on Thursday past. Maybe not, but rumour has it that there's been a wee bit of hassle all over Europe with people from Holland and Spain. It's been a very international thing, a very international conspiracy against Radio Caroline. 6215 kilohertz is the, well, 6215.5 to be exact, is the international ship's calling frequency. WMR, well, this is WMR, that is, Weekend Music Radio. Radio Caroline, the organisation, were advised, months ago, by radio people in the UK not to use that frequency and to change, but they never took the advice of those who knew about the international ship's calling frequency, and it's also a supplementary distress and safety frequency worldwide for shipping. So it's quite an important frequency. They certainly can't deny broadcasting there, because the actual transmitter was crystals to operate there. It wasn't as if it was any harmonics or anything. They actually did operate on the frequency. The interference is thought not to be caused by the medium wave, but as I said, only by the shortwave service. There are another possible reasons why the government might not be too happy, and that is the appearance of another couple of ships off the coast. Maybe the Nanel, and also the communicator. There are also these two ships at the moment, whether they are there they are. None of them have any antenna towers. The communicator has no antenna towers, and the Nanel has no antenna tower now. And they have transmitters, but Radio Caroline have the antenna towers and transmitters, so maybe we'll all sail in together and use the Caroline. You never know. Broadcasting on 35 kilohertz in support of Caroline. Earlier on today, Radio Caroline broadcast from the Ross Revenge in the international waters of the North Sea. They were raided by the government of Holland, who are rewarded for boarding permission and they boarded Paradise without told the ship in. But they never told the Ross Revenge. Or not the medium wave transmitter, so just the shortwave. The male has taken the shortwave. very unclear. There's a lot of things need to be told and getting the truth out. There's a lot of rumours flying around here, there, and yonder about this, that, and the next thing. And perhaps next week we should know sort of the truth. 2241 Arran Close UTC on Scotland's premier international broadcasting station. The station with the promotional material. I'll try that one again. Promotional material, that's better. Nice stickers, bright green and bright yellow, and also the pink ones. And we also have nice, bright, coloured QSL cards on different coloured cards. Bright green and bright pink mainly, although there are a few others which we have just had printed in the very, very recent past. And they look very, very nice here in the WMR studio. So if you'd like one of those new, beautiful day-glow QSLs, and believe me, they are day-glow, you can write to us at the address 42 Arran Close, Cambridge in England. In case anyone who's just tuned our way hadn't heard, in case you're listening somewhere in Central Europe or Scandinavia and you have not heard through the wonderful world of wireless, I'm not too sure if the BBC World Service has been carrying the story, but certainly the radio and the television has been. And about the station, hello. Yes, we're just receiving a telephone call at Weekend Music Radio, so we can now stick on a record and a couple of minutes time. We'll listen to a record from, let's see, we'll listen to a record from the Alexander Brothers, and a record, a Scottish traditional record, which we played in our world service, called My Big Kilmarnock Bonnet, which is from 1962. Weekend Music Radio playing you Scottish music on this emergency broadcast on 6235 kilohertz. On the line at the moment is WMR DJ Dave Anderson. John Wilson used to say ex-WMR DJ. Dave, what do you think of the events over the past few hours?
Well, very sad, obviously, like you do, but I think maybe Radio Caroline might learn a little lesson from this.
Yes, actually, can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, the frequency, as I was saying, 6215 kilohertz, is very, very daunting indeed. It's an international frequency.
Well, we went to contact with the Caroline organization, but took no action. And so unfortunately, they're big for that.
Perhaps this is the main reason for the radio. I'm convinced it is, actually.
Certainly, we've talked to radio engineers. I mean, both 558 and 819, it's very unlikely that any of those transmissions cause any great interference.
I mean, apart from anything else, they're really against the coast.
Well, exactly, because they're quite low power. But the shortest transmission on the country is, well, fairly high power for shortwave in Europe.
Yeah.
From the ship. Also, the channel, as you mentioned earlier, is a distress frequency.
Yeah, 6215.5 is the actual
Positivamente estamos constando da casa como embora com força
well, obviously it's not such a great scale as Caroline has been over the last few months.
Well, they're usually 24 hours a day on that channel.
Well, that's right. So, I mean, maybe, as we suspect, that has been the main reason for the raid on the station.
Well, what do you think of the news reports reaching us tonight on ITN about the beating of Peter Chicago and the captain?
Well, the Dutch authorities in the past have been known to be quite heavy-handed in their treatment during raids. I think the same thing happened before the Magdalena, you know? Yeah. They were termed, although they didn't actually hand on, they were termed as thugs. But obviously, Peter Chicago and also the captain on the Rush Revenge decided to tackle them.
Yeah, well, I mean, all congratulations to Chicago and the captain for fighting for the ship.
Oh, certainly, yeah, but I mean...
No matter what you say, I mean, the ship was in international waters and it was actually pirated.
That's right.
Which brings us to the point which we've been raised tonight, and that is the ship perhaps not being properly registered in Panama anymore.
Yeah, well, this is something which I think we would have to find out more details about also.
Yeah, but if that was the case, then there would be more chance of an act of a government to the station, because it wouldn't be an act of piracy against the state as such. It would just be an act against the Caroline organisation.
But I think, as we've found in the past, I mean, in the case of the Magna Maria raid as well, it means little to the Dutch authorities whether the ship is registered or not.
Yeah.
They just go in there.
They go in head first, don't
and they silence them, they suffer the consequences later. I mean, all right, there was wrong in doing the Radio Paradise raid, and they were eventually in the court, they were told that they were wrong. But the one thing that did happen was that Radio Paradise never came back and will never come back to the air apparently.
That's right.
Successful. Yeah, so I don't think this thing will happen to Caroline.
Hopefully not.
I don't think so.
Hopefully not. There's any supporters of the station listening, and any of the organisation would be grateful for any information. Dave, thanks very much indeed. Have you anything further to add?
Nothing else to that. Just to let you know, the signal here is going very good, so hopefully it's doing the same over the rest of the UK and Europe and whatever else you're aiming for. You're not at 15 megs at the moment, no?
Not at the moment, no. The conditions actually are not so good this evening. So I probably won't bother with 15 megs until the Pacific service is due on the air.
I was just actually tuning around there before I rang you. There seems to be something on 6320.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if it's man in Havana.
It could well be actually, because it's been broadcasting late at night quite regularly.
The man with the large flat one.
That could be.
But I think it might be him, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's 632, there's certainly a signal there.
Yeah. I think the shortwave band will be quite busy tomorrow.
Yeah, I would think so.
And
there'll be quite a few stations on there at that time.
You never know, there may be the sound of Scotland on the air as well.
Anyway, play a few favourite records.
I will play a few.
Right.
Okay, Dave Anderson, thanks very much for the call.
Bye.
Bye for now, thanks a lot. There we go, Dave Anderson from WMR on the telephone line. Weekend Music Radio broadcasting in support of free radio this evening. Free radio from the North Sea, land-based radio in general. We are Weekend Music Radio with We Ready because we're young. Weekend Music Radio broadcasting in support of free radio on the 48 meter band shortwave because we're young. On the 48 meter band shortwave 1635, listen to the transmitters of Weekend Music Radio. We welcome that's 42 Arran Close, Cambridge in England. Our signal certainly seems to be going out well this evening. We're being heard all over the UK and no doubt the continent as well. Trinity and We Love the Pirates in support of Radio Caroline, who were raided today. And Trinity and We Love the Pirate stations, that's the details of Trinity, which we on WMR, kilohertz, 48 meters shortwave. Trinity. Thank you for everybody involved in radio. Lots of work, lads. Too long. The DJs from the England service who had apparently barricaded themselves into the Caroline studio and locked themselves into the Caroline studio, the 558 studio. The transmitters were working in Carlo 819 and 558, followed by 819. Lasting for in the region of 20 minutes before they were silenced by the authorities. And in the process of that broadcast, it was stated that the presenters were free to go, they were not under arrest, and the authorities were only interested in coming on board and smashing things up and taking away the transmitters, but the personnel on board could have went to England, and proceedings would have been taken against them. They could have went to Holland with proceedings taken against them. Most of them, as we just heard on that news bulletin, have decided to stay on board the Ross Revenge and fight for free radio. Radio Caroline was raided today, and 2300 hours the time is on Weekend Music Radio, Scotland's voice of free radio. We're broadcasting, as I said, in support of Radio Caroline, who were raided by the Dutch people, the Dutch Tolbanoids, from the P&T, or the PTT, and perhaps Coast Guard officials. But give the government their dues, give credit where credit's due. The station Caroline had been asked to moved the shortwave frequency from 6215. Give credit where credit's due. They have been asked to move for many, many months, and they never moved. And 6215.5, as most people should know who use the 48-meter band, is an international ship calling frequency and a supplementary distress and safety frequency. So it is quite an important maritime frequency, and although Radio Caroline is a ship, it is a broadcasting station, and thus should not really be broadcasting on 6215 kilohertz. However, the ship is in international waters, and they certainly gave Chicago and the captain a bit of a doing tonight, or this afternoon, which we have heard. We're not too familiar with exactly what did happen, but we're just waiting for some more information. This is Weekend Music Radio broadcasting in support of Free Radio. Thank you very much to Radio Gloria for reading with that reception report to the WMR studio.
Well, I'm on my way to heaven, we shall not be moved.
From Finland to Newfoundland, from Hampshire to New Hampshire, from Scotland to Nova Scotia, we are Weekend Music Radio's World Service.
Weekend Music Radio's World Service, transmitting in support of everybody involved in the Caroline organisation. And if by any slim chance they happen to be listening on board the Ross Revenge at this time of night, 23:05 hours UTC, the whole free radio world is indeed behind you. 100% Radio Caroline. Weekend Music Radio broadcasting an emergency broadcast with the news that Radio Caroline from the Ross Revenge in the international waters of the North Sea, some 20 miles off the Kent coast, has been raided by Dutch authorities today, Saturday, the 20th of August, 1989, approximately 1300 hours, 1340 hours British summer time. The Dutch authorities have made it clear that they want the station off the air, and they have been reportedly interfering with their communications, which is possible with the 6215 kilohertz transmitter, we must admit that. Now you're listening to Fancy Time, the old Weekend Music Video, when we were damned by personal persons unknown in 1987, Christmas 1987 to be exact. I'd like to say a few good mornings now to some people we know are listening who have just phoned up the studio. We'd like to wish Dave Ellsworth a very good morning. How are you doing, Dave? Let's hope you're getting good reception from Weekend Music Radio this morning. Also say hello to that ex-WMR DJ. Who's your WMR DJ now? Dave Anderson. And also to Grain. Hello there. What are you doing with yourself at this late hour of the evening? And also we'll say hello to Alan Hayes, who just phoned from Radio Gloria, who should be on the air tomorrow. Check out 6210 kilohertz or 6315. That's Radio Gloria on the airwave tomorrow, as well as possible broadcasts from Britain Radio and WFRL. One report so far suggests that the Ross Revenge, home of Radio Caroline, which was raided earlier today, was not properly registered. The ship was maybe not properly registered, and indeed it hasn't been that way for some time now. So this act of piracy on the high seas, which has taken place earlier on today by these Dutchmen with their heavy-handed tactics, has in fact been an act of piracy only against Radio Caroline and the organisation, and perhaps not against the Panamanian government. Who knows? Time will tell. Weekend Music Radio transmitting in support of Radio Caroline on the 48-meter band, 6235 kilohertz, in that 49-meter European band. If you'd like to write to us, our address is open at care of number 42, Arran Close, Alpha Romeo Romeo Alpha November is the phonetical code. Charlie Lima Oscar Sierra Echo, Arran Close. And Cambridge is spelled Charlie Alpha Mike Bravo Romeo India Delta Golf Echo. And that's in England. Weekend Music Radio transmitting in support of Radio Caroline on 6235 kilohertz in the 49 meter band. Here's how Radio Caroline celebrated the 14th of August 1989, the 67 to 89, that must be the 22nd year of illegality from Radio Caroline, and this is how they celebrated at the field on the 14th of August 1989, just last Monday.
On 558 and 6215 kilohertz, this is Radio Caroline.
Of the nation, it's the Caroline Flashback.
It was 25 years ago on Easter Sunday, 1964, that Radio Caroline started broadcasting. On the 14th of August, 1967, the British Marine Offensive came into Essex. Good morning. Today is the 15th of August 1989 and the Voice of Soul Radio continues very much alive and kicking from the international waters of the North Sea. This is Caroline.
You let me leave, Caroline. This is the right time to leave this love.
Radio Caroline now, still ahead on Monday, August 14th, 1989, with MOA celebration, and sadly that may be the last MOA celebration that we hear from Radio Caroline on their shortwave service. Maybe we'll be back on shortwave, we hope so, and especially distant listeners like myself like to think that we'll be able to receive Radio Caroline once again on shortwave, but as they have been told, not on 6215 kilohertz, but some safe frequency, which is agreeable to all international parties. Weekend Music Radio transmitting on the 48 meter band shortwave right around Europe on an early Sunday morning. Local time, 2313 on a Saturday evening, UTC. And we were busy trying to pick up Radio International DX Listeners Digest. But the reception conditions on the high frequencies are still very noisy after all the solar flares we've been having. And although it is very noisy on those bands, the 48 meter band at night has been excellent for low-powered, short-distance broadcasting. And indeed, we believe that Radio Stella may be operating the taped programs from their transmitter at this very moment. So that's something to listen to on 6320, but it's just taped music programs, not any of the latest news which we have for you here at Weekend Music Radio. Man of Action, the theme tune, or one of the most famous pirate radio theme tunes, and that was the theme tune of Radio North Sea International, another pirate ship which had a checkered career in their short years of broadcasting. Unfortunately, they didn't broadcast too long, from 1970 to 1974, or was it 69 to 74? But Radio Caroline, the 26-year-old station, 1964 to 1989, broadcasting from the high seas of the English coast, was raided by the Dutch thugs and cowboys today, the PTT and Coast Guards, and they have never liked Radio Caroline being off the coast, but have been powerless because the ship is in international waters, and still was during the time of the raid. They came in and they took the transmitters off board. At this particular moment in time, we're still not sure whether they took the main transmitters for 558 and 819 or just the offending shortwave transmitter for 6215 kilohertz. Weekend Music Radio broadcasting in support of Radio Caroline. And once again, if they are listening on board in their old B40 in the mess room, keep up the good work, lads. Get the station back on as soon as you can. The whole free radio world is behind you, 100%. Anyway, as we said earlier on, the conditions on 15 minutes. It's coming to the end of our transmission tonight on Weekend Music Radio, but we will be standing by on the frequency for any possible QSOs we can have with some of the other bands to operate on the shortwave. SBS from Germany were logged last night by one of our reporters with a very strong signal on 6235. Anyway, as we said earlier on, the conditions on 15 megahertz are not so good this weekend, so our world service unfortunately will not be taking place this weekend on 15 megahertz, which it did last weekend, so we won't be able to broadcast on 15043 this weekend. Scotland's only international broadcasting station, Weekend Music Radio, transmitting on 6235.5 kilohertz this evening on the 48 meter band. In support of Radio Caroline, who were sadly raided at around 30 hours BST today, perhaps slightly earlier. Page 111 of the BBC's teletext service, CFAX, had this to say about the station earlier on this evening, and some still do have at this time of night. The BBC is still operating their television programs at this time of night. Dutch officials have boarded the pirate radio ship Radio Caroline. It followed complaints by broadcasting stations in Europe that transmissions were being interfered with, that the transmissions were interfering with their services. The operation was supported by the British Department of Trade and Industry, which had been trailing the ship for some time. A spokesman said Radio Caroline was broadcasting illegally under international law, but the station was in international waters and the authorities had no jurisdiction. Weekend Music Radio in support of Radio Caroline this Saturday, the 20th of August, 19 89. It's 23:20 hours UTC. 23:20 hours it is UTC, and we are Weekend Music Radio, Scotland's premier international broadcasting station. If you'd like to write to us, our address is open at Weekend Music Radio number 42, Arran Close, Cambridge in England. That's 42 Arran Close, Cambridge in England. And if anyone would like to write to us with any information they have regarding Radio Caroline or the press cuttings would be very interesting, especially from the continent, because we'll get the most of the UK papers tomorrow. Evening papers from London would be appreciated if anyone down that way is listening. London and East Anglia. But most of all, continental reports from Holland, for example, that would be very much appreciated. Any free radio supporters over there in Holland can supply us with any press cuttings. Maybe it was suppressed over in Holland. Maybe the news was suppressed, but it won't be suppressed for long because Media Network will obviously report it on Thursday, which will be interesting. We are Scotland's premier weekend music radio, broadcasting on the 48 meter band shortwave. Transmitting freely to you and the rest of the world, we are Weekend Music Radio. Weekend Music Radio transmitting on 6235. Well, we're sorry to tell you that because of the action by the Dutch government, Radio Caroline has been forced off the air today from the ship at anchorage in international waters off the Kent coast of England. The ship, the Ross Revenge, was boarded by officials from the Dutch Coast Guard and PTT, assisted and looked on by but not taking any action were the British Department of Trade and Industry officials who have chartered a vessel that's anchored just next to the Dutch tug, according to the ITN news report this evening. And we have heard that engineer Peter Chicago and the captain have had a bit of a fight and were quite badly beaten by these thugs who came on board from the Dutch tug to confiscate the Radio Caroline transmitter. Radio Caroline is the broadcast on 558 at 819 kilohertz and also 6215, the frequency which most people were able to hear here in Europe. And if you'd like to support them, their address is probably still open at PO Box. Is it 146? PO Box 146, Girona, Playa de Aro, Girona in Spain. And although we have heard that some guy in Spain has been arrested, we have some news from Chris Cortez, but we're not able to play it until we have some confirmation that it can be played on air okay. So we'll maybe be playing that for you tomorrow on WMR. The information on the ship, and perhaps we'll take a telephone call from Chris tomorrow. We don't know yet what we're doing tomorrow. There may be a busy shortwave band tomorrow for all the big radio stations broadcasting in support of Radio Caroline. Anyway, I think we're just about winding up this program, this emergency broadcast on Weekend Music Radio. We will be standing by and listening out on the 48 meter band for any station who would like to come on and give us a quick reception report. We must go to our bed because we would like to rise early in the morning to listen to the shortwave stations. So we'll say 73s for now and good DX, and thanks very much for everybody who supporting WMR over the past few months, few weeks, and writing to us. We've got quite a number of letters to get through. We've got brand new day-glow coloured QSL cards available. QSL cards, I hasten to add, not sheets. They're looking very, very attractive here. So if anyone wants a day-glow WMR QSL card, just write to us at 42 Arran Close, Cambridge in England. We've got them in pink and green, and believe me, you'll have to wear your sunglasses. We are WMR, Weekend Music Radio, the only WMR currently broadcasting now. So maybe we can revert back to the old WMR IDs, which we were trying to avoid for a while due to confusion with the DXs between WLR and WMR, between World Music Radio and WMR, that's us, and also between Weekend Music Radio and World Mission Radio. We're also getting confused. Oh, my goodness, but again, we've outlasted all the other three stations. There's none of them broadcasting any longer, and hopefully will last a bit longer still. Weekend Music Radio, our Scotland's premier international broadcasting station. We're transmitting music and information on tonight's programme. Mainly information, I hasten to add, and let's hope it's been of interest to you. We'll play out this evening with the theme tune from Radio Caroline as a little tribute to the station, which was ceasing transmissions today at around 13:30 hours British summer time, and the DJs from the English service locked themselves in the studio and continued broadcasting as they usually do on Radio Caroline right up until the last moment, when they were taken off the air by the officials, who either switched the transmitters off, smashed the transmitters up, cut the aerial, cut the generator up, or something like that. But the station was stopping transmissions right in mid-sentence while the DJs were apparently locked in the studio. We'll maybe have some recordings of that particular raid next Sunday on the shortwave band, but for now we're leaving the airwaves and standing by on the 49-meter band for any station who would like to come on and have a chat, maybe about the situation, maybe not. We'll also be doing a wee bit of QSOing tomorrow, perhaps, if we get some time. Radio Caroline, broadcasting from the North Sea, was raided by Dutch officials from a tug similar in size, or roughly half the size, to the Ross Revenge earlier on today. A tribute to Radio Caroline, who are still out in the North Sea, but the transmitters have been confiscated or smashed up or made inoperative. We're not too sure which, but we believe there's a bit of damage done to the ship. There's, in fact, quite a lot of damage done to the ship. There's been some damage done to personnel by the thugs that were put on board from the Dutch government. And Radio Caroline is currently off the air. If anyone is listening on Radio Caroline, we'd be appreciative of any information you can give us some way. The address of the station, 42 Arran Close in Cambridge in England. We'd love to know exactly what's happened. Maybe you can record a little message for Weekend Music Radio. Maybe someone who knows something can write to us. Maybe they can telephone us tomorrow during the day on our studio telephone number, or perhaps put us in the picture some other way. We are Scotland's only international broadcasting station, Weekend Music Radio, in support of Radio Caroline, now leaving the airwaves and standing by and listening out on the 48-meter band for any possible QSO with some of the other shortwave boys. Weekend Music Radio now leaving the airways. Thanks very, very much for listening to this transmission. Bye for now.